help me understand. Do you consider one of those sites? Normally Muslims would say Israel is committing a genocide. That's what most Muslims would know. Not all. You don't have to agree with them. That's what normally Muslims would say, consistent with the Quran. That's what they'd claim. I don't know if you subscribe to the same viewpoint or you oppose. I don't know. But if you do, help me understand. Please clarify based on facts, beginning with the 7th century. Help us understand how Israel or the Jews are the genocidal people and the Muslims are the marvelous people fighting against oppression. Please go ahead.
No, I just feel,
Which stance do you take?
to be honest, I feel what Hamas did on the 7th of October is out of line. But what Israel has done after that is too much. How they starve our population, how they target innocent kids, I think that is totally wrong.
Sure. So in other words, so you agree with most of the Muslims?
Yeah.
Most of the Muslims would say something similar here. So please now help me understand. Now that's a good, I understand your stance, which is approximately the typical Muslim stand. So now let's deal with the facts. I genuinely think Islam is a religion of false victimhood.
Why is that? Why?
Essentially, I'll give you a simple example.
Okay.
Let's say, so you are standing here, I come here, yeah. Let's say I punch you first, and then to all others I say, hey, this guy wanted to punch me. He wanted really to punch me, I have evidence, and therefore I punched. And make them think that actually you are the initial aggressor, that I somehow acted in self-defense.
But how does Islam prove that? Okay, of course.
But do you understand in my
I
particular
understand your analogy,
if
yeah.
you never intended to punch me,
Okay.
and if I am the one who is mentally, unstable and I punched, I am the aggressor, not you.
Yeah.
You are a poor victim who might respond to my punching subsequently with self-defense. You might do that after I punch. You understand?
Yeah, I understand
so
that.
depending on the facts, even though the claims are opposite to each other, one of us might be the genuine victim, another might be a false victim. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand that.
And that is exactly the pattern I see in relation to what Islam has done with the Muslims.
Okay.
So now you tell me, you said in relation to Israel, you think Israel should not have responded.
I know.
So you want me to clarify, yeah?
They can respond, but to a limit.
In what limit? What's the limit?
I mean, killing over 70,000 people is too much.
So help me understand.
If you look at the pictures, the videos and stuff like that, it's barbaric what they're doing. You see the videos of innocent babies dead. You see them having no food, no water, no electricity. All that counts as a genocide to a certain race of people. What Hamas did, I'm not saying is right. What they did on the 7th of October is out of proportion. Going to Israel is wrong, and killing people is wrong. But when you persecute a group of people for for quite a long time, you treat them like they're third-class citizens. You don't give them fair rights as one another. How much can a person tolerate? How much can a person handle?
That's the victimhood that I'm talking about, the false victimhood. In the analogy I told you.
Okay, fair enough.
How can I tolerate that you were going to punch me, or you actually punched when no one saw, and therefore I punched? That's my false victimhood.
Correct.
And you can contradict me, but that's how I'm seeing what you've just said.
Okay,
so now get to the facts.
Okay.
Help me understand what exactly has Israel done that is wrong for a very long time, even October 7th. What has it done? But I want the full story so we can get to the root of who really the initial aggressor is and who is not.
Well, so I'm not that knowledgeable on this topic, but from what I can say is, from what I know, the Nakba, that's how it started. They made about hundreds of thousands of Palestinians leave their home, kick them out because of a Jewish state. They wanted to make a new Jewish state, so they forcefully made Palestinians leave their homeland, leave all their belongings behind. So how would you want someone to react? If someone goes into your house, tells you, get out, this is my land, this is my property, how would you react? You would take that person by the head and tell them to get out of your house, correct?
My main problem with your current stance is the time scale.
Okay.
And I'll go to that, but before that, let me clarify something.
Okay.
It's a false accusation that during Nakba, Israel chased Arabs away from properties. There are Arabs who still live in Israel, who lived in the same land pre-Nakba.
I'm not denying.
I'll
that.
finish.
Okay, go on.
The ones who claim a Nakba actually flee themselves. They imposed upon themselves.
But why?
But before that, I just wanted to make sure that you don't twist facts
Okay,
there.
no,
They
okay.
ran away. If I ran away for whatever reason, so that. But more importantly, right now, I want to give you a simple indication, and I'll help you understand. Therefore, that the time scale that you've chosen is wrong. Pre-Nakba, according to you, we can disagree on the facts of Nakba, but
Okay.
Nakba is 1948. At
Yeah.
least that much we agree.
Correct.
There were terrorist attacks on Jews pre-1948, a number of them. Terror attacks upon Jewish communities pre-Nakba. Pre-Nakba.
Okay.
Proper Islamic terror attacks. And so, your time scale is clearly flawed. I want you to now take your time scale back. And I would comment to you, I'll give you a quick hint.
Okay.
If you want to comprehensively understand what is happening in the Middle East right now, in an unbiased manner, you actually need to go all the way back to the 7th century, because Hamas's charter, Hamas's inspiration, and many of the Islamic terrorist organizations get inspiration from the Quran. So you have to go all the way to the 7th century. So when you bring out facts, please bring out the entire facts. If you're not if you're unaware, I can bring you facts. But it all goes back to the 7th century. So tell me the full story
No, but you
and
made-
help me understand who the true victims are, who the false
But you made
victims
a point of pre-Nakba, correct? Pre-Nakba as well, there were Arabs, Christians, Jews, all living harmoniously in what we call Palestine. They were having no wars, no genocide, no killing. Yeah, of course, like in every major city, there will be scruffles here and
are.
there.
When you say Palestine, who ruled by who?
The state of Palestine, there was always
Ruled by
a-
who?
What do you mean by that?
You're saying state of Palestine, ruled by who?
That's what the whole world used to call it before.
And I'm not concerned about the nomenclature name. I'm concerned about who the authorities were. Because you're giving an indication. I'm not sure if you understand the context properly.
Well,
when
I-
you say state of Palestine, in history there never existed a state of
Like,
Palestine.
maybe not state, but that's what they called that land.
Name,
Palestine.
name.
The name.
So please help me understand. You're saying somehow there was peace under whose rule?
I wouldn't say there was. Of course.
You said there was peace.
Okay, yes.
Under whose rule?
Okay, there's no government that said it was Palestine's government. It's not
No, I'm
country.
focused on who ruled. Who you are saying that somehow it was a
Palestine
glory.
was under Jordan during that time. Palestine was under the rule
Maybe
of
I'll
Jordan.
give you a quick set of facts. Here is where, unfortunately, youngsters like you are swayed because you haven't got the facts right. You began with Nakba, wrong start. Number of terror attacks before. So time scale, we need to
There were
change.
there were terror
change.
attacks before?
I'll also, of course, multiple terror attacks upon Jewish communities, because of which Jews had to mobilize voluntary protection forces, because there were bomb blasts, terror attacks upon Jewish communities beginning beginning in the early 1900s. So now let me going back. Now the state of Palestine never existed. Pre-Nakba, the area was temporarily governed by the British.
Yeah.
It was called the British Mandate of Palestine. The
Yeah.
name I'm not concerned about. I'm concerned about the rulers. British Mandate of Palestine was very simply where the British said, look, temporarily I'm taking this, I'm managing this, because they had taken that over from the Ottomans. They had taken that over. Now they wanted to divide the land, or give the land to those who legitimately actually own the land. That's the intent with which they got it. There are a few declarations related to this. Maybe we'll keep that aside for a moment. So that was British. Pre-British, you have the Ottomans. Under the Ottomans, if you claim Jews were in peace, you are mistaken. Under Ottomans, who are meant to be a Islamic caliphate, Jews were dhimmis. Jews were dhimmis beginning from the 7th century. And this is where I want you to go all the way back to the 7th century. I'll give you a hint. In the 7th century, violent Muslims took over, at least partly, the land of, I'm not concerned about the name, the land that originally belonged to the Jews. They took that over. To an extent, you know the Temple Mount, Solomon's
Yeah,
temple,
I know that, yeah.
Herodian temple,
It's on
refurbished.
Al-Aqsa now.
They demolished what was left behind I'm writing a book based on that. It's coming next month, through God's grace. The true history of Islam based on the Quran. They demolished, and they built quite provocatively, oppressively, occupyingly. They built two Islamic structures there, and now people are arguing as to when what was built and so on. But at least we know, in a short period of time, soon after the Islamic conquest, you have Masjid al-Aqsa, the Al-Aqsa complex.
But Al-Aqsa was from before, way before the time.
There is no evidence for when was
my belief, Masjid al-Aqsa was during the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Here is where, in my belief, you punched me. Could I punch you?
No.
No, beliefs don't matter. What matters is evidence. I'm focused on evidence. This is why I'm saying Islam is a religion of false victimhood based on a delusional idea. Please listen, guys.
Okay.
This is where evidence matters. Masjid al-Aqsa, the entire complex, and Dome of the Rock were built in that place demonstrably after, towards the end of the 7th century or later. According to Islamic tradition, 7th century, late 7th century. But there are arguments as to when precisely, who did, whatever.
But in the hadith it says that the Prophet prayed there in Masjid al-Aqsa. So that's
hadiths are late literature. No one is bothered about. That would be akin to me saying, oh, I am writing something somewhere saying he punched me. Irrelevant. If I have to establish that you punched me first, I need to provide credible, timely evidence. I can't just, imagine in my brainwashed mind that I'm going to accuse you of having an intent to punch me and then punch you and then mobilize the world against you. I can't. That will be wickedness. And that's what I think Islam is. So please get back to this. 7th century, Solomon's temple refurbished, a Saracen temple. Whatever was left behind at the hands of the Romans was demolished by the Muslims.
But why did Solomon's temple get demolished time and time after again?
Irrelevant.
Don't you think
irrelevant. The question is very simple. Why did the Muslims occupy the land and take it over? In my mind, based on that timeline, they are the original troublemakers.
Muslims.
Of course, if you go into, you said if you go into someone's house and take it over, you are a troublemaker. That's exactly what Islam made the Muslims do in the 7th century, and ever since.
Okay, but why
we've had a problem?
Why is it that Muslim countries like Qatar or the UAE or Saudi, they live in peace and harmony, but Palestine is the only Arab country.
Peace and harmony with who?
I mean, with other countries. They have Saudi. Who do they have? Like diplomatic.
My dear friends, today things are changing a little bit, but historically, Qatar was accused of terrorism even by Saudi Arabia, and they were isolated.
No, but currently now.
Please listen.
Okay. Yeah.
I am focused therefore not on today's Qatar, not on today's Saudi Arabia, because if you're a Muslim, people who are Muslims, I'm not following today's Qatar. My main point is not about Qatar, about Saudi Arabia. You're precious people. I don't know where you're from. Malaysia. As a fellow human being, you're precious. Wherever you're from, whether you are Arabic, whether you're Malaysian, we are fellow human beings. And this is where, at Speaker's Corner, we engage in discussions. If we can agree on the facts, and if we can agree on a reasonable way of arriving at justice, I genuinely think we can all agree that in this particular case, for example, in this particular case, the troublemakers are the Muslims. If anyone cared about facts, if anyone cared about the truth, they should not begin in 1948. They should not begin even in the early 1900s, which I referred to earlier, just to give you an indication that you need to trace back. They should go all the way back to the time of when Al-Aqsa was built, when Dome of the Rock was built, in prime temple of Jerusalem. To me, that's wickedness. Once you have punched the Jews first, for you to claim that you are victims, you are either deluded or audacious liars. In either case, your victimhood is false victimhood.
But Jews have been persecuted in every single country they go to.
I completely agree. That is my point right now, is why are the Muslims doing that? Why did the Muslims do that? Why did Muhammad do that? Or his entourage? Early followers, I completely understand. I am with you. The Jews, unfortunately, very unfortunately, there are various people, few different people groups which have been persecuted for a length of time. Completely true. A few different people groups, pockets across the world. But the Jews are one of those who have been consistently persecuted for not just by the Muslims. Pre-Muslims, in the name of Jesus Christ, they were persecuted. Pre that, the Jews was persecuted in the Persian Empire.
But why is that?
Well, why is I'm not interested in the why. Could there be a reason for persecuting someone else?
There should be a reason. If
No,
they-
no. Wait one second.
Okay.
Could I have a good reason to persecute you? Is that what you're saying?
No.
But
if
clearly,
they-
for persecution, there's no good
But
reason.
it's a group of people. If they've been persecuted over centuries and centuries, there must be a problem.
Please listen. To persecute someone,
Yeah.
there is never a good reason. Anything which is construed as a reason must be wicked, deviant, unrighteous, anti-evidence, based on false victimhood at best. So help me understand. So if you think there is a marvelous reason for why Jews were persecuted, help me understand. What was that?
No, I just feel I'm not that knowledgeable on why exactly Jews are persecuted.
said,
no, but this
somehow
is,
there
no,
is a
this, is,
pattern.
this is from history. This is from evidence that they have been persecuted over centuries. I'm not creating it like this out of
Why?
my mind.
Why did the Muslims persecute? And your only excuse is that, oh, maybe there is a pattern that others are also. I'm asking why.
Then they must be pretty evil then. If they're being
Whoa,
persecuted.
whoa, whoa, whoa. Don't do it. Whoa, whoa, whoa. This is really dangerous.
No, I'm not. I'm not saying all Jews, but there are.
Can you see the genocidal intent here?
No.
When you don't have any information for you
No.
to please listen. You're from Malaysia, so you need to listen right now. This is very important.
And where are you from?
I'm from India.
Which part?
I'm from South India.
Kerala.
I'm from Tamil Nadu. I'm
Okay.
Tamil. As a Malaysian, you're not an Arab. You're not somehow related to the Mohammedan entourage initially, and so I would even expect Saudi Arabian Muslims to listen to me. So all the more from you. Please listen carefully. To call a people group evil when you don't even give one evidence in itself shows an evil heart. Never do that. Can you imagine me walking, seeing someone about whom I haven't got a clue and saying he's an evil man?
No.
That's
No.
not-
But I'm saying
That's a genocidal
from
intent.
the amount of there's even from what I've seen online, they even claim that Jews have killed Jesus Christ as well. They're the ones that orchestrated them.
Listen.
But that's from what I've read online. From what I've read.
Please listen.
You
No-
can't blame
no
me
Christian.
or you
No.
can't get me wrong from what I read online.
I am a Christian.
I understand that.
Sure. Please listen.
I understand that.
Read through the New Testament. No one will accuse the Jews of being evil. In the New Testament, the disagreement will be on the Jews who rejected Jesus being wrong.
Yeah, that one I can understand.
I am concerned about the evil part. Now let me go back because you can't do this. So I'm going to ask you. Islam is a religion of false victimhood. Could we agree that if I, in the 7th century, being a non-Jew from the Arabian heartland, because I think some fellow from the heavens had given me some authority, for which there is no evidence that I could present to anyone, no public evidence for anyone, it's just my ideas. I go into, eventually, either me directly or I mobilize an army to go into Jewish heartland,
Okay.
Judea,
Modern day
Jerusalem.
Okay, Jerusalem. Okay.
Jerusalem.
Yeah.
go to what is left by the Romans at the Temple Mount, demolish what is remaining, and build my Al-Aqsa Dome of the Rock, because I'm going to claim that my Muhammad flew in a donkey for which there is no evidence.
I agree.
Please, let me-
Okay. go
If
on.
I did that, I am the criminal. Do you agree? If I did that, I am the criminal.
Whatever the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, has taught me, I listen to it 100%.
But please, my question is simple. If
I
I go into Jewish heartland just because I have a delusional idea for which I can provide no evidence to anyone else, I myself or an army that I have mobilized go into Jewish heartland, destroy what is left of their property in their land, and build my property in a provocative manner, I am a violent, evil person or group with an ideology of false victimhood and with a criminal ideology.
But when
Do we agree?
When did Prophet Muhammad build Dome of the Rock or whatever?
His entourage.
No, where's the evidence that they did that?
Abdul Malak. Are you familiar with Abdul Malak?
Yeah, okay.
A caliph is claimed to have built that. So who built that? Not interested.
No, but
you are, please.
Okay.
Al-Aqsa, Dome of the Rock, clearly are Islamic structures built by Muslims who were early enough. Clearly, I'm not accusing you, but can we agree as people who live there, this is very simple, please.
Okay.
Just for the sake of religion, don't tweak, please. You need to, it's very simple. For example, if I stood here, this is my friend, yeah?
Okay.
This, my friend punched you when you were trying to speak to me, when I don't know if anything happened between both of you before this time. If he punched you, I said, Dick, what happened? Why did you punch him? That's what I'll do today.
That's your
But
point of
please
view.
listen.
Okay.
That is not based on religion. This is based on the truth.
That's based on just human anatomy. You would help.
This is based on truth. Truth demands, justice demands, factually cases have to be investigated. So I'm going to ask you one last time. If you don't respond in what I consider to be a simple, straightforward manner, I will be bound to conclude that even though you come from Malaysia, even in Malaysia, the Islamic brainwashing or affiliation.
That's not
still
brainwashing.
works.
Please, don't use
So
that
please,
word.
Please, so I'm going to wrap up.
Please, okay,
So please,
that's fine,
please.
but don't use that word, please. That's not the word.
The words I
Please
use, I use.
don't use
you can,
brainwashing.
please. I use the word I use.
Why
When
don't
you
say
have
that?
no evidence, when you believe in something, it's brainwashed.
Christianity is brainwashed
So please,
as well.
I'm going to ask you again, one last time. As a Muslim from the 7th century, I and my army go into Judean heartland, not mine, Judean heartland, just because some fellow, somewhere thought that they had spoken to whoever, and therefore they have somehow a qualification to come into Judean heartland, destroy what was left out of a Jewish structure in Jerusalem at Temple Mount, and in an evil manner, very provocatively, very oppressively, just because they had the sword in their hands, they could build Masjid al-Aqsa and Dome of the Rock. The early Muslims were criminals. Do we agree?
I don't agree.
Thank you very much. Lovely to see you today, but I'm really sad